John Fleck fit enough to return. He replaces Lundstrom as Henderson is in goal. A back three of Basham, Egan and Robinson. Baldock and Stevens are the wing backs. Norwood, Berger, Fleck in midfield. McBurney and Sharp are the two up front. And as the referee blows his whistle, as has been the case throughout this Premier League resumption, the players take a knee. The left arm raised aloft by Isaac Hayden. And we are underway with Newcastle United defending the Gallagate end, playing from right to left, and then it's easily headed back by Basham. The Newcastle side, Dubravka in goal, a back four of Manquillo, Lascelles, Fernandez and Rose, midfield of Ritchie, Hayden, Shelvey and Saint-Maximin, and Almiron in behind Joel Linton. So that's one change from the side that last played way back on March the 7th against Southampton, and that is Joel Linton coming in for Dwight Gale. They've played a number of warm-up games, and Steve Bruce was saying that Joel Linton has been very, very sharp, but already an early free kick given away, Chris Waddle.
Good start by Sheffield United. Newcastle had the kick-off. They launched it long, straight through the keeper, and they've used the ball very well down this right-hand side. And they've got a free kick on probably on line with the corner of the 18-yard box, about 25, 30 yards out. So dangerous position, Norwood on it.
Norwood's going to take it. Robinson is forward. Basham is in there. Egan's also come up from the back. In fact, every outfield player is in and around the penalty area in front of the empty Gallagate end, away towards our right-hand side. Norwood to take it, right-footed, delivered towards the far post, punched away by Dubravka, all in green. Almiron tries to spin away with the ball, but he's stopped as Basham just came across, and it will be collected over on that far side. Full time at Cardiff. Cardiff City have beaten Leeds United by 2-0, which means that West Bromwich Albion stay top of the Championship, 71 points. Leeds second, 71. Fulham 7 points adrift on 64 points with 8 games to play. And we talked about that trend that Chris Waddle had highlighted, how rare it is to get a home win in England since the football resumed. It's only a 5th home win in 22 attempts as Almiron, as the home side come forward, feeds it to the feet of Joel Linton. But Joel Linton, running left-hand side of the penalty area, gives the ball away. And here is Sander Berge, the tall Norwegian, along the ground, short and square. Norwood, who was a little bit more vocal about Chris Wilder after that ghost goal at Villa Park. Forward ball just away from Billy Sharp and picked up by Dubravka. Although, as Chris Wilder said, he's had enough money taken out of his back pocket by the FA, and I think he was mindful of not wanting to criticise the officials too much in fear of losing a few more pennies, or more, be it pounds.
Well, he's conducted himself very well, and game started. Sheffield United looked the more lively. Newcastle are trying to settle in here, but difficult team to play against Sheffield United. And how was it the return, the first fixture? This at Bramley, Newcastle won 2-0. And it was a very difficult game that night for Newcastle, and they caught basically Sheffield United twice on the counter-attack.
Do you think that Sheffield United will have an advantage, the fact that they played a competitive match just days ago, and also that they'll know what to expect in these unusual surroundings?
Yes, definitely. I think they know now. There's obviously no atmosphere as such. You can hear all the players and the coaches and the management all shouting at the players, and so it is like it's like a practice game to players, Ian, where you play the reserves or the youth team to get your system right. And I'm sure Steve Bruce has had a few friendlies and a few games on the training ground trying to get the system going again, what they were doing before the break. So but yeah, Sheffield United slight advantage for me playing a game already.
The familiar voice of Chris Waddle. 3.5 minutes played here at St James's Park on what is a bright and warm afternoon. There are the odd wispy white clouds up above, patches of blue sky as well, but a very pleasant afternoon, although there was talk of the odd rain shower. And as I say that, I notice that there is an ominous cloud just starting to creep over the corner of the main stand and the Gallagate end, high up away to my right-hand side, that we hope, because we're so far down the main stand here, it doesn't deposit any rain. As Sheffield United playing from left to right on BBC Radio 5 Live, attack on that far side. Sander Berger makes himself available, but at the minute he's not required. Here he is though now, just forward of the centre circle. On the outside is Basham, plays it to Baldock on this near side. Baldock will get away from Sam Maximan and then was actually fouled, and then there's a challenge comes in then on Berger. The referee will blow his whistle, he will bring play back, and he'll give a free kick in a good position for Sheffield United.
Well, Sheffield United started with a very good tempo about them, haven't they? They're really hustling Newcastle. Newcastle's not really got out. They've had one fire up the field into the other half, but nothing happening. And Sheffield United are dominating possession, and they've had a free kick already put in by Norwood from about 30 yards, which was very dangerous. The goalie got his fist to it eventually. This is near the byline, a better position, flex on it with his left foot.
He's about 6 or 7 yards up from the byline on the right hand side of the penalty area. Sheffield United playing from left to right, so Fleck to take it. This will be an in-swinger. In it comes now, crowded area, headed away by that bald head of John Joe Shelby, collected far side by Ender Stevens, charged down and goes behind for a corner kick, but definitely Sheffield United started the better.
Yeah, very good tempo about them, and using the width very well. When they get away, they're looking to get balls in the box there, and I've noticed already, a lot of balls going forward, 3 or 4 have gone forward quite with distance on it from Sheffield United, and McBurney's won every header so far.
Corner kick on the far side, the left for Sheffield United. Norwood to take it. It's an in-swinger, and there was a lot of pace on that, and it was Robinson who threw himself at it at the far post, got himself into a little bit of a tangle as he tumbled, and it went far over his head and out for a goal kick for Jack Robinson, who's making his appearance the other day. And I said to Chris Wilder, I was handed a statistic that I thought might have had a little bit of fun for them all on the journey up. He could have had a bit of a sweepstake, because it was only his second ever Premier League start, and it was his first since April 2011, and it was his the distance, or the gap in between his first and second Premier League start was 3,343 days. I forgot to ask Chris when we were talking whether he did that as a bit of a teaser for the lads or the backroom staff, and also whether anybody got anywhere near it. It's a long time, isn't it, for Jack Robinson, but he continues to deputise for O'Connell as Basham swings over a ball from the right hand side, picked up by Stevens for Sheffield United. In the sunshine on that far side, back towards Fleck. Coming forward is the aforementioned Robinson. Diagonal ball inside to McBurney. Dropping to the knee was Fleck as he guides the ball back to Stevens. Back with Fleck once again. Short ball inside. McBurney forward to Berger. Berger's touch off his right foot guided it out of play, but it was a good move from Sheffield United.
Very good. They've got a great tempo about them at the minute. They're dominating Newcastle. Newcastle just can't get through the gears. They're stuck in first gear at the minute. They just can't get out. Sheffield United's got them penned in. They can't get out. They're trying to play their way out, but give Sheffield United credit. Their tempo is tremendous at the minute. They're not letting Newcastle settle on the ball.
He felt that they didn't play to their full capability against Aston Villa on Wednesday.
Yeah, as you're saying, it was the first game back, and no crowd, and it'll take 2 or 3 games for teams to settle.
High ball bouncing. Oh, and Henderson had to be careful there. He all in yellow, came to the very edge of his penalty area, caught the ball and then just dropped back to make sure he hadn't carried it out over the penalty spot, out of the penalty area. Norwood over to that far side for Stevens. Back it goes to Robinson. Norwood's available if required. He's midway through his own half. He sees a bit of space and he'll run into it. He'll carry the ball and then plays it out to his left for Stevens, who comes over the halfway line. Short diagonal ball. Thought they'd miss Fleck in midweek, Chris. He's a tidy player, isn't he, John Fleck? Because that's a searching diagonal ball that Baldock will do well to keep him playing. He has, and he's won another corner kick. Baldock did ever so well.
Great ball by Egan, wasn't it? And you've got, I think, the fixture at Bramallanian when they played each other, Steve Bruce played 3 at the back that night, matched them up, and he made it really difficult for Sheffield United, and they got a result. But today he's gone to a flat back 4, and they seem to be getting outdone in midfield. McBurney's getting him behind the 2 midfield players. The 2 wing backs are getting a lot of space to go and enjoy an attack.
Corner is taken short on the right hand side. Norwood, he fed the ball back towards John Fleck, but he just put a little bit too much on it, and it runs out for a goal kick to Newcastle United. 9 minutes have been played then on BBC Radio 5 Live. 2 old school managers, Chris Wilder and Steve Bruce. You never answered their question, by the way, because as they were having a little bit of a chin wag, down on the touchline. They looked up, and as I said, our commentary position is only about 3 rows back from the dugouts, and they saw Chris Waddle, and they both shouted up to Chris, and Steve Bruce said, "Who do you want to be playing for today?" I've got a feeling, as the ball is played in low on that right hand side and it's cut out by Basham for a corner kick.
Well, I think the feeling you've got is probably right. So I think it was a question through at us, which I think they all knew the answer before.
Yeah.
So
corner then on that far side to Newcastle United. It's still 0-0, and we're in the 10th minute of this contest here, the first of 3 live games on BBC Radio 5 Live. Ritchie to take it. It's an in-swing up and the downward header. Joel Linton, Lascelles, they're also in there. There's a scramble inside the 6-yard area. Fernandez got the right-footed shot away that was blocked. Just wouldn't fall down to them. Not too sure how much Joel Linton got on it when it first came to him as Shelby spreads play out towards Sam Maximan on that far side. Flex misjudged the flight of the ball. Sam Maximan in flight. He goes on the outside, the cut back, and nobody could make the telling touch. It comes out of the penalty area. Fernandez will keep it alive for Newcastle. Back with Shelby. Looks up. Shelby waits. It's a curling ball. It's deep inside the penalty area. It's headed towards the direction of Joel Linton. But the flag is up on that far side, and that's the nearest that Newcastle have come to causing any sort of a problem for the away side at 0-0.
Well, if you get the ball to St. Maxim, you know what he's got. If he gets you fronted up one-on-one, is he sure there? He went past Stevens if he wasn't there. The pullback was the right thing to do. Unfortunately, he couldn't get to a Newcastle player. But if you can get him facing the fullback one-on-one in that last third, there's not many who'll stop him. So it's unfortunate the way Newcastle normally set up. He's too deep, and to get him in them positions, you're only going to do 3 or 4 times a game.
You saw how Traore was able to change that game yesterday for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Newcastle United have a potential magician in their midst with the box of tricks that he's got at in his locker. Sam Maximin, who of course scored his first goal for Newcastle against Sheffield United earlier in the season. Basham touches the ball to Baldock. Play continues. Baldock with a cross deep inside the penalty area. McBurney gets his head on that, and it's picked up by Dubravka.
Well, I thought it was a foul to be fair on Joel Linton, but the referee said play on, and they've cleared it. Now Newcastle are starting to come into the game now.
Game's just starting to open up a little bit, isn't it, as Ritchie now can come forward and he'll carry the ball midway through the Sheffield United half, and Almiron will get a touch and he leaves it to Shelby, who curls the ball in, but then Basham has easily dealt with the presence of Joel Linton, and it goes all the way through to Henderson, who releases it quickly. The tempo of the game is much quicker than it was against when Sheffield United played Aston Villa, but the ball has been given away by Norwood, straight to Almiron, who runs forward, strikes the legs of what an effort that was from Ritchie. Robinson. It came to Ritchie. He's hit it first time off his left foot, and Henderson has made the save going away towards his left. He made a couple of good saves in the second half against Aston Villa on Wednesday night, and Henderson, with a comfortable height, moving away to his left, repelled that Ritchie effort.
That was a good hit by Matt Ritchie, 25 yards, but you'd expect Henderson to save it. He got there nice and early, got 2 hands on it. I was going to say one for the photographers, but there's none there.
There's a couple dotted around.
Oh, there? Okay.
But
the goalies can save it properly now. They don't have to dive anymore like they do because the cameras are not there.
the numbers are restricted in all aspects. But as you say, it was a comfortable height for Dean Henderson. But I would imagine the last 2 or 3 minutes will be giving a lot more encouragement for Steve Bruce and Newcastle, Chris.
Yes, most definitely. They've upped the tempo. They've come into the game, and it's good to watch when it's like there's 2 teams going for it. Newcastle are getting a bit more time, a bit more space, because Sheffield United did come out the blocks very well. But now they've just sort of dropped off. It's a very close, warm day in, and Newcastle now are getting a little bit more time on the ball.
Well, Wednesday in the northeast, they're talking of temperatures about 25 degrees for when Newcastle entertain Aston Villa on Wednesday.
That's for the month.
But here today there is a bit of a breeze, but it's pleasant. It's around 17, 18 degrees as Rose comes on the inside of Berger. Almiron pops it off to Sam Maxima on this near side. Diagonal ball, foul from behind there. Norwood on Danny Rose, and a free kick to Newcastle United midway through the Sheffield United half. 14 minutes played, 0-0, 5 live.
Well, Newcastle have upped the tempo. The full-backs are getting forward a lot more now. There's a lot more movement. The midfield's getting on the ball. Sheffield United just slightly come off the pace, and Newcastle are enjoying this little spell they're getting on the ball.
So Danny Rose to take it. Every outfield player is in the half away towards our left-hand side. And in fact, Rose is going to wander away, and he's going to leave it for John Joe Shelby to take. The Sheffield United defence, with their red and white striped shirts, have a line on the edge of the penalty area. Shelby just 2 or 3 yards away, runs forward now, scoops it long, right-footed, arcing into the penalty area. Brought under control by Stevens. He hits it long. The outlet is Billy Sharp, but it'll bounce away from him and out of play for a throw. And on the cones, the 2 white cones for that replacement, because no ball boys, ball girls in the St James's Park. Shelby wanted to retrieve. They use that replacement ball, but in fact it will be retrieved by a steward on that far side. Oh no, they will use the replacement ball system after all.
I didn't know you knew his name. Mr. A. Stewart, was it?
You brought your A game with you, have you? Oh, you quite like that one. Here is Almiron. Almiron loses out. Norwood plays it early, brought under control. It's quite a high ball, but Billy Sharp's done well to control that, and he's won the ball away from Almiron, back to Norwood. Now with Egan on the halfway line for Sheffield United, playing from left to right. Norwood along the ground to Baldock, just over the halfway line. Baldock looks forward, but then passes the ball back, and it goes to Egan. And Egan now to Robinson, who plays on the left side of that 3-man central defence for Sheffield United. Left of the centre circle, diagonal ball, Baldock and Basham overloaded on this side, but it goes out of play, and it'll be a Newcastle throw.
There's just certain areas of the pitch here where Sheffield United have got an advantage. They've got 3 in midfield to Newcastle's 2, really. Almiron's got to get on the ball more behind Fleck around Norwood area. He's got to get more on the ball there. Joe Linton's obviously occupying the centre halves. St Maxime's had one great run, which was on the right. Not really had a kick on this left-hand side so far. But there's areas of the park where they can exploit it. It's an interesting game, this.
McBurney finds a pocket of space. He holds off Hayden, plays it out to Baldock, level with the penalty area right-hand side. Norwood then gives it back to Baldock. Berger's made the short run ahead of him, down towards the byline. Sliding across and kept in play there was Hayden. It was a good, well-timed challenge on his byline. So Maximan then holds off the challenge, and it's a diagonal ball to Almiron, and the break is on now for Newcastle. Almiron plays it forward. Joe Linton has stayed on side. Joe Linton's round the back. Joe Linton inside the penalty area, and Joe Linton went for the tighter angle that the save was from Henderson.
Never looked comfortable, did he? Great bit of play. St Maxime into Almiron. Lovely weighted run. The back 3 there, trying to play offside. They were all over the place. Should never have done it. But Joe Linton, get it out your feet. Have a bit of confidence. Go and strike it. Go and place it to that side. He's looked like he's running out. He's sort of running out of legs, and he's mishit it into Henderson. And what a golden opportunity that was.
We were right behind him, and he's probably, as we're looking to the left-hand post, he's probably got no more than a foot, and he's tried to go that side of Dean Henderson rather than open it up and hit it to the wider side.
It looks like he got caught in his stride, and he ended up kicking the ball when he didn't really want to. Confidence is a massive thing, especially for goal scorers, and you can see this guy hasn't got any at the minute, I don't think, and that was a golden opportunity. This level of football, that should have been a goal.
Yet to score in the Premier League at St James's Park in 14 matches. That was a real opportunity for Joe Linton. Only scored 1 in his 29 in the Premier League. That was away back when against Tottenham Hotspur. But that was a chance for Newcastle United without a shadow of a doubt. 18 minutes played and it's still 0-0. Aston Villa Chelsea to come at 4:15. The Merseyside derby at Goodison. Everton against Liverpool at 7 o'clock. The Brav Cup, all in green. Take the goal kick for Newcastle United. Joe Linton beaten in the air, hit long then by Fernandez, challenge from behind from Ender Stevens on Ritchie, giving away a free kick, and it'll be a direct free kick to Newcastle United midway through the Sheffield United half on that far side as they attack the old Lees' end from right to left. Newcastle.
He's put some good deliveries in already, Shelby, doesn't he? He doesn't. If you look at Shelby, he's not one of them who whips it in with as much pace as he can get on it. He actually just clips it with the inside of his foot and tries to put it into an area. Look,
Here it is, it's spinning now, it's Basham who'll head it away. It was a good strong header away by Basham, came on then off the outstretched thigh of Ritchie. Sharp then gives it back to Shelvey, lifted forward again, the flag has stayed down at Joe Linton. That's always racing away from Joe Linton, and it will go out of play for a Sheffield United throw deep inside their own half. In fact, just a matter of yards up from the corner flag on this near side. The Sheffield United right, as they play from left to right. BBC Radio 5 Live, and it's still goalless. Basham to take it. Hayden heads it back for Newcastle United. So Maximum gets away from Basham. He's on this left-hand side. Tackle, though, was made well by Basham. Then the back heel has actually presented it back towards Sam Maximan. Inside to Joel Linton. He's teed up Shelvey. Shelvey to strike it. That was a good block coming in. It's a brave block as well by Robinson. Just threw himself in front of that because that was travelling. Newcastle still have the bit between their teeth. In comes a cross from Ritchie, aimed towards Joel Linton. Didn't get the cleanest of headers at it. Scooped up in the air and gathered in by the goalkeeper Henderson. 0-0.
Maxime again causing problems down his left-hand side this time. And he gets it to Shelvey. And then Shelvey sent to the referee, was it a block with a hand? He keeps saying to the referee, have a look at it.
But it couldn't have been deliberate, could it? I mean,
no, exactly.
But it was, he didn't strike it well, though. Joe Linton. Was there a little nudge in the back there of Basham? Joe Linton gets away from Sheffield United defender, Sam Maximin. Shelvey plays it first time to Hayden. Forward ball now to Almiron. Almiron will run forward. Left corner of the penalty area. Sam Maximan just in from the touchline to Rose. Plays it first time to Shelvey. Back towards Lascelles. And Lascelles now to Fernandez. Both the fullbacks are pushed on for Newcastle United. And it's a diagonal ball aimed towards Manquillo on that far side. Given away though. Sheffield United now forward with Ender Stevens. Covering his Shelvey and tidies it up. And then Newcastle United with Lascelles, and now to Fernandez, the two central defenders, and they work it across towards Rose. Rose forward to Almiron. Gets away from Berger. Sam Maximan to Danny Rose. Sheffield United looking to try and press Newcastle United, who go back and across, and Lascelles, and they play it towards Shelvey. Manquillo's gone ahead of him. Shelvey's operating almost in that right back position at the minute. The midfielder is a lazy ball, a lazy casual ball back inside towards Fernandez, then to Rose. Under pressure because of Berger, there's no way forward, so Newcastle are forced to go back. They had the drinks break. Harry Neville, watching on Friday night, questioned as to why they were having a drinks break. You'd need a drinks break today, though.
Why not? Listen, that's the rules. I mean, I don't know why people are commenting. Why they're saying they shouldn't and they should. But listen, it's the rules have come back. They've had a long layoff. They've got themselves. They've had a pre-season really, and as you're saying, it's very warm here today. So yeah, they have the drinks break now, and I'm sure Chris Whale will have more to say than Steve Bruce, because Newcastle don't really need the drink break there, and they're flying at the minute. They've got a great tempo about them, a lot of movement. I've got to say with Newcastle, if only, I'm not going to go with Joe Linton, but if only they had a number 9. Their number 9, they would have been not looking over the shoulder at relegation or anything. They would have been well ahead of it. A proper number 9, they would be a very good position in the league. But some of the approach plays, lovely to watch on the eye, but when he gets near the goal, you just can't see anybody put it in the back of the net, and this is a big problem for them. You can see they don't score many goals. Some, as I say, some of the football is really good on the eye to watch. And Sheffield United will be delighted for this water break, and I'm sure Chris Whale is having a few words with certain players, because they're not as busy as they normally are. They're normally hard to play against. They normally, you don't really get time on the ball, but Newcastle at the minute are having a very good spell.
Do you think if that Joe Linton chance whilst we're still in the drinks break was to fall to a more prolific goal scorer, a Billy Sharp for example? Goal.
If not a goal, we would have been saying what a save that was.
Interesting there, in fact, Dubravka has just been nudging the shoulder of Joel Linton almost to try and gee him up to bully him along a little bit, to say keep it going, come on, cajole him a little bit more. But he wasn't prolific at Hoffenheim. He only scored 11 goals last season.
Yeah, that's the problem. And he played right side of a 3. He didn't play as a number 9. So, Well,
play is back underway. It's 0-0. BBC Radio 5 live on this very pleasant summer's afternoon on Tyneside. 0-0. Joel Linton has squandered the best opportunity of the game so far as Baldock sends over the cross, and that was a very hard effort, but he had a go at it nevertheless. Billy Sharp on the swivel, on the volley, right-footed, couldn't keep it down, and it goes over the top of the crossbar and out for a goal kick.
That's where Billy Sharp's at his best. You put that ball in the box, he's, if the goalie saves it, it hits the post, hits the crossbar, he's normally sniffs them chances out, and that's where he gets a lot of his goals. He's not frightened to miss, Billy Sharp. He always has a go. You say there, it was a difficult technique. It was slightly behind him. He tried to volley it, and obviously it's gone over the crossbar.
Well, whilst Newcastle United are struggling to score goals at one end, the total of 12 is a joint lowest of home goals this season, along with Crystal Palace in the top flight. They do have a good habit of keeping them out at the other end. In fact, it's 4 successive clean sheets at St James's Park, and I'm sure Steve Bruce will hope that they can maintain here today. It's just over 6 hours of football since they'd last conceded a goal. Saint-Maximin on the overlap, Almiron making that run to the left side of the penalty area. Here he is, plays it back. Hayden goes square. Ritchie central position midway through the Sheffield United half. Pacey ball to the feet of Almiron. Almiron waits. Back to Hayden once again. Saint-Maximin, central position. Quick to close him down. Feeds it then to Hayden, drifting back out towards the left. Almiron fires over the cross, headed away by Egan. Stopped by Berger on the edge of the D of his own penalty area. And in the sunshine, it's Ender Stevens who can bring the ball forward. Up towards the halfway line he goes. Leaves it now for Robinson, making that run on the outside of him. Baldock has made the run from right wing back. Danny Rose will watch that ball, and he watched it intently, and then with an outstretched left leg pushed it out of play for a throw that Baldock will want to take on this near side. Still Newcastle United 0, Sheffield United 0. Berger blocked cross by Hayden, picked up by Rose. Rose tries to switch play to Saint-Maximin over on that far side, the left, and out of play it will run away from him for a Sheffield United throw. Chris Waddle.
Yeah, I think a lot of things go through Norwood. He sits in front of that back three and he likes to get on the ball, and it seems to first look, but he's not on his game today. He's given the ball away more than any other player, I think, so far in a red and white shirt. So he's important to the way United start their attacks, and at the moment when they're going through him, he's giving the ball away too easy.
Newcastle United are in possession. Hit long by Danny Rose, the Newcastle United left back. Headed away, Norwood for Baldock here for the away team. Back with Basham once again. And John Egan at the centre of that back three for the Blades. Gives it to Basham. Baldock has already gone on ahead of him on this near side. Basham will play it forward. Norwood tells Egan to switch it. They try and play it out towards the left. And now they pick out Fleck. Left of the centre circle. Forward ball. Headed up by a leaping Lascelles, and then eventually cleared by Manquillo.
Well, the two wingers have swapped as well for Newcastle, and Matt Ritchie's come to the left hand side, and St Maxime's gone to the right, where that's where he had his best run early in the game, on that right hand side. So if they can get the ball out to him,
he's always going to cause a threat, is Alain Saint-Maximin. 3 goals since he arrived from Nice for £16.5 million. But the game is a lot more even now, isn't it? We said that Sheffield United had started well. It's very, very even now.
Yeah, you'd say first 10 minutes definitely Sheffield United look the team with the best rhythm about them and the best tempo about them, but then Newcastle for 15 have come back, but now Sheffield United have got the ball a lot more and they've upped the tempo.
Every outfield player is in the Newcastle half. Chris Wilder turns away in frustration as Fleck plays it forward, left-footed, cleared away by the right foot of Fernandes for Newcastle on the edge of his penalty area. Joel Linton heads it to Ritchie. Ritchie then lifts it high, and Almiron in a foot chase with Egan, and Almiron will try and get there, and Almiron goes down inside the penalty area, but David Coote, the referee, was up with play. He had a good look at that, and he said no. I think outside the area, Almiron's shirt was being tugged by Egan, but whether it was enough to warrant a penalty.
Great pace by Almiron. Egan struggled there to keep. If the ball had been another 3 or 4 yards, he was in. Almiron. He got the legs on Egan.
McBurney has come midway through the Newcastle half to try and win the ball. He's lost out in a sliding challenge to Hayden. And Shelby plays it back. Here is Danny Rose. A bit of room for him to run into, the on loan Tottenham defender. And then he gives the ball away straight to Basham. Basham then will just nudge it past Saint-Maximin. Then he comes on the inside. And it's a strong run, this, by Basham. And they're looking for the flag. Billy Sharp offside. Chris Basham did to Maximin what Maximin would normally do to him.
Yeah, well, I think Danny Rose has got to tighten his game up. He's given the ball away a lot and putting his hands in the air as if it's somebody else's fault. But, you know, if Danny Rose hits a black and white shirt, he ain't got a problem. So, yeah, Basham, they're encouraged. Chris Wilder encourages the two centre-halves who play right and left to go and join in. And, you know, if they can go and step into that midfield, go and do it.
Robinson doesn't seem to get forward as much as O'Connell, does he?
No, definitely not. He's more of a thinking maybe his defensive role, but he will have license. I'm sure he has. But you know, Basham's been in the team quite a few years now, and he knows the role he's got to play.
Half an hour played on BBC Radio 5 Live, and it is still Newcastle 0, Sheffield United 0. Joe Linton. Just a little bit of words being spoken there with Egan, the two of them. Bit of nonsense between the two of them, really, wasn't it? But David Coote, the referee, I think is going to take action. He's got his yellow card out. He's telling them both to calm down. Didn't necessarily warrant that, did it? You wouldn't have thought.
Just have a word with him. Listen, he wouldn't put the ball down. Egan obviously tried to knock the ball out of his hand. Joe Linton should have dropped the ball, let's be honest. But he wanted players to get in position. All he needed to say there was a quick word. It's been a good game so far. Nothing happening. No bad tackles. It's played in a good spirit at the moment. So he didn't need to get the yellow card out.
And yet he has booked both. So both John Egan and Joel Linton have been shown yellow cards by referee David Coote. 14 minutes to go to half-time. Just clouding over a fraction. Still 0-0. Here at St James's Park as Egan goes long, headed away by Hayden, brought under control by Saint-Maximin, who's once again on the right hand side. Newcastle thought he was fouled. Play continues. McBurney plays it back out to Berger. Norwood joins the attack. Right footed ball delivered with pace, headed away by Lascelles, running back into his own penalty area. And now Ritchie on that right hand side, forward to Almiron, short of the halfway line, plays it to Ritchie, hits it first time. Shelby's breaking through from midfield, Egan with a back pass, and Henderson will clear. Left footed, first time strike by the on loan goalkeeper from Manchester United, and it'll be a Newcastle throw on that right hand side.
It's a hard one to call this, Ian, isn't it? Sometimes you can be watching a game and you think, well, they're on top and they're going to win, and you can see they're going to score a goal after, or maybe 2 or 3 goals. But this game, you know, it's very close. Both teams having good spells, so it's a very hard one to call.
The one thing what I was expecting is not many goals. This was never going to be a goal fest today, was it?
No, you would think, looking at the form of the team, not the form, the way they played the season out and the goals they've scored, it's based on clean sheets, isn't it?
So Maximin has just bundled over Baldock. That'll be a free kick to Sheffield United on the right hand side. Norwood's going to take it, but everybody's come forward from the back. Robinson, Basham, Egan's also making his way there. It'll be Ender Stevens who'll be the last line of defence. The left wing back just stands midway through the Newcastle half to make sure to try and curtail any potential counter-attack, but Norwood's going to take it. Very, very crowded penalty area for the red and white striped shirts of Sheffield United, and Norwood curls it in now. Headed away though by Lascelles, edge of the area. A couple of touches there for Fleck, didn't get past Joel Linton. Played forward then by Manquillo to Saint-Maximin. They tried to take him out there, did Ender Stevens. Saint-Maximin rode the challenge. His forward ball stopped though by Baldock, who has come from a right wing back position across to that far side, the left, to cover, and it was a good job that he'd read that situation.
That was a good chance here. He should have ran with the ball though. He should have kept running. John Joe Shelby's made a terrific run. He's took people with him. I'd given the space for him to keep running with it. He's tried the pass to John Joe Shelby. It's cut out.
Saint-Maximin brings this bouncing ball under control, 6 yards short of the halfway line, shows strength and balance. holding off the challenge, back with Lascelles, a couple of touches, hits a right-footed ball to Joel Linton, drifting out towards that right-hand side, and then Robinson, trying to play it back to Henderson, has knocked it behind for a corner kick, and he hopped in frustration, did Jack Robinson at that. So with 11 minutes to go at a half-time, it's a corner kick to Newcastle United that Richie's going to go across to take.
Yeah, both. But you look. I was looking at the two teams when they were lining up in when they come out before the kick-off, and they're very similar in size, both teams. So set pieces, it's going to have to be spot-on delivery.
Sheffield United have everybody back to deal with this corner kick. Richie on that far side, the right. Newcastle playing from right to left. Attacking the Leesy's end. In it comes now from Richie. Headed away by McBurney inside his 6-yard area. Headed further clear by Norwood. Manquillo turns on the halfway line inside the centre circle and all the way back to Dubravka, the goalkeeper in green. And the two continue to exchange passes as Dubravka now, Slovakian international, strikes it. Little touch there by Lascelles, who'd stayed forward. Almiron has kept it in play. And then it'll be marshalled out for a goal kick for Sheffield United. Still 0-0. In case you missed it, Cardiff City beat Leeds United by 2-0 in the Championship. So West Brom stay top with 8 games to play. West Brom and Leeds both together on 71 points. Still then hope for Scott Parker's Fulham, 7 points behind. And we've got 2 more commentaries to come. Aston Villa against Chelsea at 4:15, followed by the Merseyside derby, Everton-Liverpool, with John Murray and Mark Lawrenson from 7. And you can see all the action on Match of the Day 2 tonight at 10:30. McBurney heads it on, off the chest of Billy Sharp, dropped to his knees, quickly back to his feet, loses the ball though. Hayden, Almiron carves the ball back towards Danny Rose, hits it long. Egan brings the ball under control and plays it forward. Norwood's got time to turn on the halfway line, and Norwood, all with his right foot, along the ground to Baldock. Berger's just ahead of him. So Maximin closes him down, plays a diagonal ball, dealt with by Fernandez. Plays it forward, San Maximin. Berger pulls back at him. The referee has seen that one and now actually gives the free kick, which is taken to Hayden. Now is Shelvey. Still yet to have the first goal of the afternoon here at St James's Park. Ritchie caught in possession by Fleck. And in fact, Fleck was adjudged to have been fouled and the free kick is taken, but not from the right position. So David Coote wants it retaken from its exact position, Chris Waddle.
Yeah, it's a very even game. It's so hard to call. Two teams, the passing the ball, the tempo is very good, I've got to say. But when you're getting good areas, you know, you're looking for a little bit of quality where you actually think this is going to be a goal. And we've only seen it on a couple of occasions, if that. Some of the approach plays nice. Both teams look quite comfortable in possession, but in the final third where it all counts, unfortunately both teams are found wanting at the minute.
Hayden, forward ball, Joelinton able to turn, touches it forward. Almiron waits, switches play. Newcastle, remember, right to left, black and white striped shirts, black shorts. Danny Rose to San Maximin, back to Shelvey. Norwood, did he catch San Maximin a little bit late? Certainly went to ground, did San Maximin. Norwood though tells him to get back to his feet. Play continues nevertheless now with Lascelles just inside the Newcastle half, back with Fernandez. Shelby's come across towards this near side as Rose pushes on, and Fernandez with a curling ball will pick out Danny Rose, who lays it behind him, and Shelby's just behind him. Shelby now switches play. We all know what the distribution's like from John Joe Shelby, and Manquillo's forward ball looking towards Ritchie, intercepted by Ender Stevens for Sheffield United. He finds Fleck midway through his own half. He turns infield. Norwood with a bit of space midway through his own half. Joelinton comes back at him, and now with Egan, stride forward from the heart of that Sheffield United defence, and there are 7 minutes to go to half time. Back with Egan once again here on 5 Live. Baldock wandering forward, just in front of a watching Steve Bruce with his right hand being waved around, just moving from foot to foot, shifting the weight of his body as he watches on. He talked in his press conference via Zoom on Friday about trying to catch Burnley, very much a manager who's looking up rather than behind him at those teams such as Brighton, Watford and West Ham. Still not mathematically safe as the sliding challenge comes across from Hayden and it goes behind for a corner kick to Sheffield United.
Yeah, it was a patient build-up that time down the left-hand side, and they've worked another corner this time. They've had a lot of free kicks, a lot of corners in good positions, but end products not happened for them. But it's a matter of time. There's going to be one delivery what's going to come in and cause a problem.
Norwood's gone across towards that far side to take it. Newcastle have every black and white striped shirt back. Norwood then with the in-swinger towards the far post, and it comes off the chest of Fernandez, and out of play it goes for another corner kick. Egan was the one making the run behind him.
Yeah, good run. It's obviously worked on the training ground, I would think, that one. A lot of pace on it by Norwood. Fleck's going to take it from this right-hand side. Similar type of ball, I would think.
So because the corner's on the right, and it'll be a left-footed corner from Fleck, this will be another in-swinger for a successive corner for Sheffield United. Basham's made the run towards the near post. Once again, it goes towards the far post. Ian with that downward header, bounced over the head of Robinson, and the break on now for Newcastle. And Almiron is the one who's running clear. Only Sam Maximan has gone with him. He's over the halfway line, but he's been shielded out towards this left-hand side and then balled up with the back pass towards Henderson. He'll be quickly closed down, and he chips the ball away, and Norwood takes it high on the chest, and that bouncing ball then is hit forward towards Sharp, and stooping and diving is Fernandez, and out of play for a throw.
Yeah, Almiron does a good run down this left, doesn't he? He's got no help, nobody can keep up with him, as St. Maximin was on the right hand side, but he couldn't reach there, so eventually Sheffield United get it back. This is a good spell for Sheffield United the last 5-10 minutes.
Former Sheffield Wednesday and Newcastle United and England international Chris Waddle here with us on BBC Radio 5 Live. 4.5 minutes to go to half time. Norwood to Stevens midway through the Newcastle half, strokes it back to Robinson. And now with Egan in the centre circle. Basham, right of the centre circle, forward ball. Berger, yet to complete 90 minutes in the Premier League, the Norwegian, and he's given the ball away.
Keeps passing like that. We don't be doing 90 minutes neither. So, I mean, he was a lot of money, the guy, and he's taken a while to settle. I've seen him play a few times now, and he's the game sort of passed him by, and I think Ludstrom will probably feel he shouldn't have been left out, really. But when he's spending big money on somebody, he's going to play. So, but he's not settled to the Premier League at all.
No, he hasn't. £22 million they signed him from Genk in January. The Norwegian. He did complete 90 minutes when they played Reading in the FA Cup before lockdown. 99 minutes to be precise, but he's yet to do so in the Premier League. And we're approaching the half hour. There's a very dark cloud hovers over the Gallagate end, high up away towards our right hand side. Certainly rain was forecast later this afternoon, and it's gone a little bit chillier as well. Listen, if it rains here, we'll get soaked.
Well, I remember the game we did do here, and we did get soaked. Were you that time? No, I think I was with somebody at Connor. I think I might have been with. Yeah. Like it was snorkels and everything that day.
I remember a game a long time ago in my days at Radio Newcastle when the press box was changed. It just was one back row in the one solitary row on the back of the press box. I think it was Derby County before Christmas. My word, I've never been as cold and as wet in all of my life. And I think Newcastle were beaten that particular occasion. Didn't make it a happy day for the locals, if memory serves me right, but it's 0-0 here. Sheffield United with Ender Stevens looking for the run of Sharp, headed out of play by Federico Fernandez on that far side. McBurney will want to take the throw quickly, and he picks out Fleck. It's played back to McBurney, still on that left hand side for Sheffield United at 0-0. Robinson, forward ball, cut out by Manquillo. Breaks back into the penalty area, headed away by Lascelles. So Maximan tries to skip out of the sliding challenge by Norwood. Sheffield United, though, have the ball back. Inside to Norwood from Fleck. Norwood looks up, turns, plays it back out towards Fleck on that left-hand side. McBurney only now running in towards the penalty area. Berger's popped up on the left, and the last touch came off Berger, and that'll be a goal kick.
It's you look at this game and you think some of the plays are very good to watch on the eye. The midfield and the back fours look very comfortable in possession, but where the game's affected is in strikers, and unfortunately the two strikers for United, Sheffield United obviously, and Newcastle, Joe Linton plays up there on his own. They're not getting much success. They're not getting much joy. They're not getting any joy off the defences. So the game sort of gets exciting until it gets to the final third, and then it fades away because there's just not the quality or the rates there. I don't know what it is. The runs, the quality, probably. It's just not there, and that's why these two teams have struggled to score a lot of goals this season.
And these two have struggled to create openings in this game, haven't they? I mean, we haven't really had too much.
No, I'd say Joe Linton's chance was a great chance. Billy Sharp's volley was a hard skill, and he did well to get it just over the bar. There's been moments when the ball's gone in the box you think maybe, but decent tempo about the game. You can't fault with the commitment of the players, the tempo of the players, but we're just looking at quality in the final 30, and unfortunately probably St Maximin's got that bit quality on the park at the minute, or the one we've seen, but apart from that, nothing happening.
About to find out how much added on time there will be. Of Newcastle United 0, Sheffield United 0. As it goes out of play for a throw, the fourth official has wandered forward. Darren England, he's having a little look at his watch as well. Be lucky to get more than a minute, I would have thought. As here is Stevens running in field to Basham, central position, midway through the Newcastle half. And in fact, it is the additional 60 seconds, which we're now into. Into the penalty area it goes, over the head of Berger, and Ritchie leaves it, and it'll be out for a goal kick.
I think, was Basham at Newcastle United as a kid?
He was at, I remember him at Bolton.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. Was he not here originally? Maybe wrong.
That's one for Gary, giving him some work to do. He's probably fallen asleep behind me, has he?
Was that right? Are you doing it?
He was. No, he was, yeah. Yeah, as a kid that was it? Yeah.
4, you think it was 4, wasn't it? It was 4, 5?
If Gary talked, you still wouldn't be able to hear him. He's still got his face mask on. Because we're able to dispense with our face masks, which were through broadcasting, although at one stage they thought that might be the case. Some might say it might have enhanced the commentary, who knows. Anyway, it's 0-0. And we're in the additional 60 seconds, which have just expired. So half-time, few and far between in terms of chances. Newcastle 0, Sheffield United 0. Chris Waddle.
I think it's been played at a good tempo. Both teams very committed, but we're looking for quality. And we're talking about the Premier League football, and unfortunately, attacking-wise, both teams have found that difficult. I think the approach playing's been good, the defending's been good quality, but final third, teams on the attack have not created enough at this level of football to go and win a football match. So Joe Linton with the best chance of the game should have done a lot better than what he did, but apart from that, two teams very well, so much committed, very committed, but little action in both boxes.
So half-time, Steve, Newcastle 0, Sheffield United 0.
Chris, I'm going to read you some of the social media messages we've had about Joe Linton from Newcastle fans. So this is what people have been saying, 85058 at 5Live Sports. Stephen, imagine being Dwight Gale sat on the bench watching that. He's 10 times the striker that Joe Linton is. Darcy, I really feel for Joe Linton. He's got the pressure of being the club's record signing on top of him, and he's being played out of position. And this from Robert. The thing about Joe Linton is that his approach and team play are pretty good. He just can't shoot, he can't head, and he can't score, which is a bit of a problem. Is it hard to argue with a lot of that?
Well, that's a very good text, isn't it? But listen, you feel for anybody who comes in with a lot of money. Let's be honest, he didn't earn the price. We know he's not worth that, let's be honest, in modern day market. But Newcastle were willing to pay that, and but you can't say he doesn't get the service. He does get decent balls into the box, and he's had that through ball which he should have scored. I thought definitely should have scored. But listen, if Newcastle, and I agree with the first text probably, for me, Gale is more adjusted to the English game. He's more of a centre forward. We've seen what he did at West Brom. I know people say Gale is more of a Championship player than a Premiership player, but he must be sitting there watching, thinking, give me them chances or half chances of what he's getting. I'm sure I'll put some in the net.
The thing is, when he went through, I don't know about you, but at no stage did I think he's going to score here. He just didn't look like he was going to score.
No, I didn't know that. He got the legs on Egan and he was away. I mean, a good striker there takes it in a bit more, draws the goalie and puts it past them. Or the one thing you've got to do when you're running at an angle coming in from the left-hand side is aim for that right-hand post inside of it. And he's gone for the near post. I think he mishit it personally, and it was a comfortable save for Henderson in goal. But in at this level, listen, if you're lower down the league, you get more chances and you'll get your percentage of goals. But at this level where teams are struggling to score goals, especially these two teams, every chance you get, you basically got to take.
How are those clouds looking, Ian?
Then I was
Is he nipped off? Oh, that's all right. You can do the weather report.
Well, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. The clouds come over. It's quite dark at the minute on the Gallagher end, but it looks like it's passing, and looks like we're not going to get the shower we thought we would get. But it is darkened up slightly, but fine.
Good. Chris, thank you. Chris Waddle there, and Ian Dennis will be back hopefully for second half commentary. Newcastle 0, Sheffield United 0 at half time. 5 Live Premier League Sunday is back after St James's Park. We've got full commentary of Aston Villa against Chelsea, so we'll take our first trip to Villa Park shortly, and then 7 o'clock kickoff, the Merseyside derby. So we'll talk to Mark Lawrenson shortly as well. We'll get the news first on 5 Live with Helen Place.
On digital, BBC Sounds, smart speaker and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
5 Live news headlines. Boris Johnson says he's appalled and sickened by the knife attack in Reading yesterday, in which 3 people were killed. 3 others are injured. Police say they're treating it as a terrorist incident. A 25-year-old man is being questioned on suspicion of murder. A murder investigation has begun in Manchester after a second man died in a shooting. It happened in Moss Side early this morning. The government will bring forward plans this week about how to safely reduce the 2-metre social distancing rule in England. Measures such as plastic screens would have to be put in place to prevent coronavirus infections. Spain has reopened its borders to most European countries, including the UK, with passengers arriving at airports no longer having to quarantine. Anyone coming back to the UK, though, does have to self-isolate for 2 weeks. And the family of Tom Petty has asked President Trump to stop using his songs as he bids for re-election. They say he'd never have wanted his music to be used for a campaign of hate. I Won't Back Down was played at a rally in Oklahoma last night.
100,000 people were screaming.
What a year that was.
The first day feels...
Waiting for the sun to come up at the stone circles.
Everyone is smiling.
You could probably power a caravan off of the vibes.
Hey, Glasgow! Let's make it a Glastonbury to remember.
It was bliss.
Relive the best of the festival from Thursday, June 25th. Watch on BBC iPlayer, listen on BBC Sounds.
I'm very excited.
The BBC, bringing us closer.
More live Premier League football than anyone else.
5 Live's Premier League Sunday
With Steve Crossman.
Yeah, it's half-time in our first commentary of the day on this 5 Live Premier League Sunday. Newcastle 0, Sheffield United 0. Aston Villa Chelsea, we've got full commentary from 4:15, and then full commentary again of the Merseyside derby. Everton against Liverpool. Former Liverpool defender Mark Lawrenson is with us now. Afternoon, Mark.
Steve, you okay?
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you.
I mean, as a former Liverpool player, as someone who won league titles with them, how's it been for you the last few months with Liverpool on the edge, but not yet over the line?
You know what? With all that's gone on, I completely forgot there was no football.
Yeah.
No, not really. Well, look, I think the biggest thing that all Liverpool supporters would have been worried about was whether they decided that the season was null and void. Obviously, could have done points per game, which would have been fine. I think Klopp mentioned it, didn't he, the other day about the asterisk. He said we might be the only team that's won the championship with an asterisk, and he had to look it up because he only knew the asterisk from the comic, which is probably summed it up a little bit. Listen, excuse me. I think everybody knows they've been outstanding. Pep Guardiola, of course, he's saying, well, they fully deserve it, but until they win it. Obviously, it just feels a little bit strange. But then again, the whole thing seems strange. I've watched most of the games so far. I mean, teams are struggling to score. Teams are struggling to create chances. There's no doubt the intensity is not quite there. And that might be a problem for Liverpool tonight, with the front three, with the intensity.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because on the one hand, the pattern, as you say, so far is very much for slow starts, but then it is a Merseyside derby, so I wonder if the second thing might cancel out the first. I certainly hope it will.
Yeah, I mean it's possible, but it's they've just played friendlies, and basically it feels at the moment that they're playing friendlies, but obviously there are points involved in the games, as we know. But it's like anything, Steve. I think, when you're approaching a full season, certainly you're probably looking at your fitness after the 10th game, whether it's, 8 league games and 2 cup games or whatever. And you're looking, we're starting to look sharp, but that's, probably a quarter of the season gone. And it's, the front three tonight, I would imagine, would be the normal three. Just be interesting to see if they are really, really sharp and got that extra half a yard, because I wouldn't think they have, because it just comes from playing in the games when they're as competitive as they possibly can be. And, as I said, looking at most of the games, I think the only game that it felt like it was near a Premier League game that I saw was Tottenham-Manchester United. But all the rest of the games have been a little bit kind of standoffish. You have the ball, we have the ball. I haven't seen tackles flying in anywhere as per yet. Chances are generally few and far between, unless you're one of the poor teams that we've seen and they've been rolled over quite easily.
And I guess ultimately as well, if you're Carlo Ancelotti, you probably don't want a tornado fast start, because if you try and play Liverpool at their own game, it's probably only going to go one way, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if he plays with a kind of 3-5 at the back and just invite Liverpool onto them, because going back on the fitness and the sharpness theme, if they haven't got much space to run into Liverpool, it won't be too easy. It's just going to be hard, isn't it? Because we're going to sit there. It's obviously it's an empty stadium. We hear everything that everybody's saying, and yet you're looking at players, and you can tell with players just by the faces that they feel that it's very, very strange. Look, in another 2 or 3 weeks, when they played 4 or 5 games, I think you look at something completely different. I mean, the good thing from Liverpool's point of view is they've got a few games in which they can obviously win the competition. And the other thing is as well, because we know that some of the teams have had nightmares in terms of travel, hotels and all that kind of thing. Well, Liverpool are away today, which is 3/4 of a mile away. Then they're at home midweek against Palace, and they only have to travel to Manchester, don't they, for Man City for the third one. So in terms of the games, they've had it relatively easy. And, Klopp and his backroom staff have generally been brilliant at just keeping them topped up all the time, but just at that level. And as I say, it'll be interesting to see tonight what level they are at, fitness wise and sharpness wise. And that extra little bit of sharpness from the front three just gives you, with those, just gives you obviously the chance to make chances and score goals. So we'll see.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. We'll speak to you from Goodison.
Okay.
Top man, Mark Lawrenson there is part of our commentary team alongside John Murray for the late game, 7 o'clock kickoff, the Merseyside derby live on 5 Live Premier League Sunday. Before that, 4:15 kickoff, Aston Villa against Chelsea. Your commentary team, Conor McNamara and Clinton Morrison. Good afternoon, chaps.
Hello, Steve.
Afternoon, Steve.
I mean, if you're Frank Lampard, Conor, looking at the results so far ahead of their first game of the return, you're probably quite happy, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll be looking forward to this, Frank Lampard, because I did Chelsea's last game before the lockdown and they absolutely took Everton to the cleaners. They beat them 4-0 at Stamford Bridge. Billy Gilmore started in the midfield and looked a Rolls Royce. And I'd say he's actually been looking forward to getting these players back out and playing again, because Chelsea were beginning to look really, really good. And then, you've mentioned, obviously, even Leicester, who were ahead of Chelsea, dropped points yesterday. So that chance of not just securing the top 4, but maybe even getting in the top 3 is a genuine target for Chelsea now in these remaining games of the season.
Clinton, Billy Gilmore is very much worth mentioning here, because obviously we won't have the team news for a little while yet, but he was brilliant when he came into the team. Now there are players back fit. Kante's fit again. Loftus-Cheek is fit again. Do you think there's a chance that he might now drop out or not?
No, I think one thing you have to realise with Frank Lampard and Jody Morris, if you're playing well, you'll stay in the team. There'll be games where he has to come out because he's a youngster, and the senior players will have to come back in. But if you've got the shirt, you earn it. You have the right to stay in the team. So I think there'll be games where he come out and then games where he'll go back in. But he's earned the right. As Conor said, he was exceptional in their last game. For a young boy who wants the ball and he always wants to look forward, that's what being an centre forward. I always want my midfielders to look forward. It's easy to go sideways and backwards. because he always looks forward, he's tenacious in the tackle. I think he's got a big future ahead of him.
The transfer business that they've done already, Clinton, you've got to wonder whether or not that transfer ban was actually a good thing for Chelsea, because they are investing now. They've invested in Werner, they invested before that in Ziyech, when maybe other teams are going to become cautious.
Yeah, other teams are going to struggle. Chelsea have got a lot of money. Mr. Abramovich, he's spending the money. So they have to be in the Champions League for next season. They've made big signings in particular Werner. I think he's going to be a great signing. I've seen a lot of him at RB Leipzig. He can play as a number 9 or come off from the wide, and he's very lively and he can score goals. It's probably what Chelsea need, but they have to be playing Champions League football. I think they've got a great chance. Their squad now is still really good. As you said, the two names you mentioned, Kante and Loftus-Cheek, they're two brilliant midfielders who are going to come back into the team and into the squad as well. So I think Chelsea will finish in the Champions League this season.
Results were Chelsea's way so far. They've also largely gone Aston Villa's way, despite their opening game against Sheffield United. At some point, Connor, they have to look after themselves, though.
Yeah, they do. I mean, you could. I remember listening to Dean Smith's interview on 5 Live on Wednesday, and you could hear the disappointment in his voice. Draws are no good to them at the moment. They need a win. You look at the permutations in the table, and it is actually, agonisingly close. I was at Norwich on Friday, and they seem so set adrift, whereas Villa actually are within touching distance of this, and that's, it's almost the agony for Villa fans knowing that it is possible here. They get a win today, they would move ahead of Bournemouth, they would move ahead of West Ham. You've got Watford who drew yesterday, they would move ahead of Watford. They'd go up to 16th place, and suddenly those teams would drop below Villa. This is a huge opportunity. Obviously not easy against Chelsea, but as you say, the other results have worked for them. The teams around them, Norwich below them, Bournemouth, West Ham above them, have all lost this weekend, and that is an opportunity for Villa.
Connor, Clinton, thank you. We should have the team news from Villa Park during second half commentary of Newcastle United against Sheffield United. Hopefully get that in the next 15 minutes or so. Elsewhere, Cardiff have beaten Leeds United 2-0 in the Championship already today, and England's Tyrrell Hatton shares the lead going into the final round of the PGA Tour Championship event in South Carolina. Ian Poulter and Matt Fitzpatrick a further 2 shots off the lead. The players are back out on the pitch at St James's Park, so let's rejoin your commentary team. Keeping dry, Chris Waddle and Ian Dennis?
Just about. There is a little bit of rain in the air, isn't there, Chris?
Yes, there is. I didn't see that coming, but yes, a tiny bit.
We're back underway. Neither side has made a change. So in this second half, Sheffield United in their red and white striped shirts and white shorts, with Henderson in goal, a back three of Basham, Egan and Robinson, Baldock and Stevens. The wing-backs, right and left respectively. The three in midfield, Berger, Norwood and Fleck. McBurney and Sharp are the two up front. And for Newcastle United, in their black and white striped shirts and black shorts, playing from left to right. So they're attacking the Gallagate end. You've got Dubravka, Manquillo, Lascelles, Fernandez and Rose are back four. Midfield of Ritchie, Hayden, Shelvey and Saint-Maximin. Almiron in behind Joel Linton. And 9 substitutes. And of course 5 of those 9 can be used if they are utilised in 3 separate occasions. But we've witnessed a very, very tight and even first 45 minutes, Chris Waddle.
Yeah, 2 even teams. Not a lot between them, let's be honest. As I said before the break, Ian, I think the weakness of both teams is up top, and they are, strikers wise, I don't think there's enough there to affect the game. And you start looking at the bench. McGoldrick obviously is not on the bench today, and you're looking at, do you bring Andy Carroll or do you bring Gale on? Because that's something he's got to look at, Steve Bruce, maybe in the first 15-20, but he might be happy the way it's going. If he's drawn 0-0, it's a point on the board.
He picked up a knock after coming off as a substitute on Wednesday, did McGoldrick, as a slip from Basham allows Almiron to run forward to Ritchie, and coming across was Basham, and he'll get there not once but twice. Ritchie fell to the floor and Berger helps out, and then it's tidied up towards Baldock on that far side for Sheffield United, but his forward ball just bounces off the foot of Fernandez and out of play for a Newcastle throw. And I've seen on both occasions, because we're so close to the dugout here, both Steve Bruce and Chris Waddle turn around in frustration. The faces contorted due to either their players giving the balls away or just things not right happening as they would want in that sort of game. can't fault the endeavour from the two sets of players, but both sides are just lacking that penetration and that creativity. As Stevens comes forward and now finds Berger. What has been a very workmanlike 0-0 game so far between these two here at St James's Park. Berger, the Norwegian. Back along the ground he goes, edge of the area for Baldock, just in level with the penalty area. The return ball to Baldock. Can he work over the cross? It's blocked, it rides up the chest of Fernandez. Then he clears the ball out of play and out it goes for a throw.
We're just looking for that bit of cleverness, aren't you, in the final 30, and somebody who can, you know, beat somebody, can stand a cross up or spot somebody in the area who can, you know, do something with the ball in the final third.
Joel Linton holds the ball up, lays it to Manquillo. Manquillo's forward ball is headed up in the air by Stevens. It's directed back towards him by the head of Fleck, who's going to come under pressure from Joel Linton. They managed to get it away to Norwood, who's miscontrolled the ball. Now Almiron can run forward and maybe take advantage, but as he runs out on a diagonal path from on that out towards that left-hand side, sliding across, then was Egan
Basham.
Oh, Basham was it? Yeah. Again, Norwood, you picked up on that in the first half, giving the ball away.
Well, normally he plays a lot deeper than everybody else, so no team normally gets on top of it. Newcastle, Almiron has done a job on him today.
Saint-Maximin, the interception from Berger. The back pass all the way to Dean Henderson, all in yellow. The last three home games at St James's Park have all been 0-0. Oxford, Norwich and Burnley. Once again, we have another stalemate here at St James's Park. Lascelles has given it and presented the ball straight towards Ender Stevens on this near side, the left. Attacking the Leesy's end. Fleck, time to measure his cross from the left. In it goes. And cleared and hammered away by Federico Fernandez. And Joel Linton's first touch is to take it away from Egan. He was being pulled there, back by Egan. Egan's on a yellow card, and he's Egan's going to be in trouble. And there is the second yellow card, followed by the red, and Sheffield United are down to 10 men, 5 minutes into the second half. John Egan sent off. And Sheffield United now have it all to do.
Yes, most definitely. You've got to say Joe Linton, persistent, backs into Egan. And the one thing, Egan he's had a brilliant season for Sheffield United. I've got to say, the one thing he lacks is a little bit of pace, and he was worried there with the pace of Linton. As soon as Linton got the other side of him, he decided then that was it. I'm going to start getting hold of his shirt, and he's tried to make it look if it was, not really deliberate, but it was. And as you say, once you're on that yellow card, the referee had no option but to give him another one, and off he goes.
The first touch from Joel Linton and the turn was extremely sharp, and Egan was always struggling from that moment, and he tugged him back, and because of course of the, I think if you were to have a gripe with John Egan, you'd have a gripe about the needless yellow card that was awarded in the first half to both players. Yep. Long free kick, long range, hit by Shelby, and it's over the top. Because we both at the time didn't feel that yellow card was warranted.
I agree with that, Ian, but at the end of the day, he put himself in a daft position. So it'll be interesting now what they're going to do. Will he bring Jag Laker on, or will he just go to a back four? They've still got the three in midfield, Billy Sharp, McBurney up front. Will he sacrifice one of the strikers? It doesn't look like Jag Laker's warming up, but that's it.
Penny for the thoughts at the minute of Chris Wilder, who's just been rubbing his bottom lip, pondering what to do. An advantage Newcastle United now with the extra man, if they can make it count. Berger, that's a head injury and a challenge with Danny Rose, and will mean that the physio will have to come on to treat the Norwegian.
He's just left it at the minute, and he's just gone to a back four, which they can do. There's no problem there. He's got two centre halves, two obviously full-backs who love to get forward, but they'll have to pick and choose now the runs when they do join in. He still keep the three in midfield, and one of the strikers is going to have to drop to one of the flanks, or maybe drop into midfield. So, but there's a few subs warming up now.
But also as well, we've got the conflab taking place as this injury is being treated for Sander Berger of Sheffield United at 0-0. You've also got Steve Bruce, who's got Steve Agnew, who's just talking into his right ear, and to his left you've got Stephen Clements as well, because Newcastle now be thinking, well, how can we maybe tweak it to try and make this extra man count?
I totally agree, but will he put it in our strike alongside Joe Linton on? I don't see it. I think he'll give it another 5-10 minutes, maybe 10, 15 to see what's happening. But at some stage, you'll believe now they've got a very good chance of going to winning this game.
Manquillo's controlled a high ball very, very well to Hayden. Curls it in. Joel Linton with a header. And it was easily saved by Dean Henderson. Again, a comfortable height, just moving across towards his left to take it. 7.5 minutes into the second half on BBC Radio 5 Live, and it is still Newcastle 0, Sheffield United 0. But John Egan sent off for a second bookable offence 5 minutes into the second half by referee David Coote, as those dark clouds have passed off with just the odd spot of rain that deposited here on what has otherwise been a very pleasant afternoon on Tyneside. And now the sun shines over something like St James's Park, this fantastic stadium in the heart of the city of Newcastle. And Steve Bruce looking to try and maintain what is a very good record against Sheffield United, where of course he began his managerial career. He's won 8 of his previous 11 games against the Blades as a manager. Indeed, when he started out over 20 years ago, Chris Wilder was actually a player at Bramall Lane. 0-0. Newcastle have a throw over on that far side.
Well, it's an interesting one for Chris Wilder, because Chris now's thinking, I like to win. I want to win this game. And point's a point, don't get us wrong, but he'll be thinking, I want to win this game. He has a good counter-attack.
Here is Ritchie breaking forward on the left-hand side. Saint-Maximin is going with him along the ground. Oh, it's been missed. It falls to Saint-Maximin, and Saint-Maximin takes full advantage. It was Enda Stevens who failed to cut it out, and Saint-Maximin makes him pay, and Newcastle United take the lead against the 10 men of Sheffield United. It's Newcastle 1, Sheffield United 0.
Yeah, good counter-attack. Ritchie, as he played the ball, I've got to say, I thought, right idea, but there's not enough weight on the ball. And Stevens, what is he thinking? Just keep your eye on the ball, put your foot through it and clear it. Doesn't matter if it goes out or a corner or a throw in, just put your foot through it. He's miskicked it, and give St Maximin credit. He's followed in, he's anticipated it, and it's a decent finish. Henderson really no chance. Now it's interesting for Chris Wilder. Does he look to think, we've got to get back in the game? His point is put a defensive player on. He'll be thinking, how can we affect this game by going and getting an equaliser now?
His first goal at St James's Park, and it follows up after scoring his first goal for the club, actually in the corresponding fixture at Bramall Lane. And Newcastle United lead by 1-0. And Saint-Maximin's first touch is then to run forward, now to Joel Linton, and they're looking quickly for a second. Joel Linton now into the penalty area. Joel Linton aimed towards Almiron, cleared away by Robinson, and it just bounces away from Saint-Maximin. So Newcastle, but Chris Wilder will be looking and thinking that could have been avoided if that had been dealt with by Enda Stevens.
He just took his eye off it. He's thinking, where is St Maximin? Is he coming in front of us? Is he making a run across us? What? He just took his eye off the ball, and that is a simple goal for St Maximin. But it's difficult now for Sheffield United. They've got 10 men. It's a warm day. They've got to do a lot of work. Chris now has got to make something. Chris Wilder's got to think something, how he can affect this game, because at 0-0 he probably thought, I'll take that.
It's been a bad 5 minutes really for the Sheffield United manager and his team, when you consider that Egan sent off 5 minutes into the second half, and then 5 minutes later they not only find themselves down a man, they find themselves a goal down 2. And Dubravka now in the end away towards our left hand side, plays it forward, and Hayden. Here is Almiron dropping midway through his own half. Newcastle United now with the advantage, and it's a 3 points that you would think, not mathematically, but would realistically take them to safety, because it would leave them 38 points.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think maybe that, the draw, whatever. The mate needs something else, but you'd be very happy with that if you get to that total.
Goes out of play for a throw. Manquillo to take it towards the goal scorer Saint-Maximin, but he was shrugged off the ball by Robinson, and then it's tidied up by Stevens back to Henderson. 12 minutes into the second half. Sheffield United, who when they failed to score at Aston Villa in midweek, was only the second time in 11 that they'd failed to do so.
I'd be looking in to put Mousse on. because he's quick. Yes, he's unpredictable and he can lose the ball very easily, very cheaply. But he's got a bit of pace, a bit of power, and he knows where the goal is. He's not frightened to shoot from anywhere. There's nothing happening. McBurney and Billy Sharp, unfortunately, are working decent. You can't fault anybody's work rate on the pitch, but you're looking for that little bit of quality and who can turn it, who can make something happen.
In the sunshine, here is Robinson. Sheffield United are a goal down. Ender Stevens running back towards the halfway line, running infield now and still going edge of the centre circle. McBurney's actually alongside him, very, very deep the forward for Sheffield United to Berger, who gets it back 10 yards inside the Newcastle half. Sheffield United playing from right to left. Baldock almost showed too much towards Danny Rose. They keep the ball the away side. Now to McBurney, 30 yards out from goal. Able to turn, short and square, very lopsided. Ender Stevens lost it, then wins it back. Plays it out towards Billy Sharp. There's no width though in the minute, and that's the other thing about losing Egan, who plays in the centre of that three-man defence, as that was a good ball played out by Sharp to Baldock on the right. Baldock with a cross. Sharp meets it, and the downward header is wide. And you'd have expected Billy Sharp to have hit the target.
Well, I think Steve Bruce will be disappointed about players closing people down. They've just let Sheffield United there have 15, 20 passes, and Billy Sharp, you would back him to score that all day long, wouldn't you? With his goal record he's got, that was an ideal situation for him, and he's come in. Yes, he's slightly probably nudged off balance, but a player who knows how to put the ball in the net, he should have hit the target at least. And but Steve Bruce will be disappointed with the way Newcastle just let the 10 men of Sheffield United basically play around them with ease.
And when you consider that it was Sharp who'd curled the ball out towards the right-hand side, nobody had tracked his run into the penalty.
Nobody, no.
Before lockdown, he'd scored 3 and 4, Billy Sharp, and you'd have put you'd have fancied him certainly to have hit the target with that downward header, but it went wide as Newcastle still lead by a 1-0. We're approaching the hour mark. Next commentary on 5 Live. Aston Villa Chelsea at 4:15. Team news from Conor McNamara.
And Deno, the Aston Villa team is unchanged from the side that you saw drawn 0-0 with Sheffield United here on Wednesday, so that's straightforward. This, of course, Chelsea's first game since the lockdown. Their last game 3 and a bit months ago was the 4-0 win over Everton. Andreas Christensen comes in to partner Rudiger at centre half from that team, and there's also a new look midfield. Kovacic, Kante and Loftus-Cheek all start, and that means that Billy Gilmour, who made his first Premier League start last time out, he now has to settle for a place on the bench.
Well, whilst we're away with Conor and commentary, we'll with Conor and Clinton Morrison at Villa Park at 4:15. An opportunity for Newcastle United to increase their lead. So Maximan has made the run down the right-hand side, cut back towards Almiron, and he shot straight at Henderson.
What is he, 7 yards out, coming in the middle of the goal nearly, and anything with it, place it, you've got time to place it. He's just hit it as it's come to his side foot. It's straight at Henderson, and that puts the game to bed if that goes in for me. And what a glorious opportunity that was.
We've said so far that only one team has come from behind to win since Project Restart and the resumption of the Premier League. That was Brighton. Ritchie with the free kick in, cleared partially by Berger. Foul there on Norwood from Hayden. Free kick to Sheffield United. Watford against Leicester and Spurs against Manchester United rescued a point. But Sheffield United, who trail by a 0-0, remember, are down to 10 men with 29 minutes remaining here at St James's Park. And the other key feature of losing Egan is that you have the overlapping centre-backs. Yep. Playing with the 3, it allows your full-backs, the wing-backs to push on high up the pitch. They're going to have to be... here is Baldock running back at the minute.
I don't know, Ian, when last time I've seen Sheffield United play a back 4. So they're used to a certain style of play. They're going to have to gamble as the game goes on because they're getting beat. So if you lose 2 or 3, you lose 2 or 3. Well, there's going to be a spell where he's going to put Moussa or attacking players on to think, can I get back in this game? And yes, you will leave gaps and spaces at the back, but you have to take that risk. And they can afford to. They're safe. They're chasing a European place. 1-0 defeat, no good to Sheffield United.
Very good season that Chris Wilder has enjoyed with Sheffield United back in the top flight. 44 points, in fact, from 29 is the highest points tally in the Premier League from a promoted team since Birmingham a decade ago. And, they're ahead of Tottenham, putting pressure on teams such as Wolves and Manchester United, or at least that was the aim, for a place in Europe, looking to qualify for a major European competition for the first time in their 130-year history. The Anglo-Italian Cup in 1995 doesn't qualify. Here is Norwood to Robinson. The 10 men of Sheffield United after Egan was dismissed, trailing by a goal to nil. Robinson to Enda Stevens, whose mistake led to the goal. He failed to cut out the cross from Ritchie, and Saint-Maximin took full advantage. Newcastle drop off.
Yeah, Newcastle are just waiting for that interception, that loose pass where they can catch you on the counter-attack, as they did for the goal.
Here is Sander Berge, just outside the centre circle. Norwood trying to orchestrate things in the sunshine. Leaves it for Basham. Right-sided central defender now. Forward ball strikes the shoulder of Enda Stevens. Didn't know where it had landed. Saint-Maximin comes forward and then he runs back into Enda Stevens, but he dispossesses him, and the forward ball will try and set Almiron away. Basham will tidy up, and with a back pass to Dean Henderson. Norwood. Now with Berge. Berge trotting forward. Gets it back. Burney shows himself. Flex alongside him. Here is Robinson. Leaves it for Norwood. Very, very deep now, trying to drop in between the two central defenders after the dismissal of Egan. Robinson to Fleck.
Lundstrom's going to be coming on.
So John Lundstrom, who started against Aston Villa on Wednesday, but the only change as he made way for the returning John Fleck is going to be coming on and will try and make his impact. Bentaleb and Muto have just been warming up as well for Newcastle United. Here is Norwood. Fleck going to be closed down by Shelvey. Enda Stevens level with the penalty area on this near side, the left. Fleck to Norwood. Now to Basham. Every outfield player is in the half away towards our left-hand side. Fleck plays it out to Stevens. Stevens has Manquillo backpedaling. He goes on the outside. He then comes on the inside of Manquillo, but as he tried to turn once again, Manquillo took it away off his toes. And now Saint-Maximin to run forward for Newcastle United. Saint-Maximin is having his arm pulled there by Enda Stevens, and that'll be a free kick to Newcastle.
He's probably been the best player on the park today, and at times he's been erratic, don't get us wrong, but he's been the player who causes the most danger, and it looks like something's going to happen when he gets the ball. Who's going to come off? Is he going to go 1-for-1? Yes, Berg again comes off and again struggled to come into the game. Struggled with the pace of the Premier League since he's got here, and he finds it hard every game. You see, it doesn't see. You think one day this is going to be it. He's going to arrive on the scene, but it's not happened for him. And Lundstrom will probably think he should be in the team.
So John Lundstrom comes on. Sander Berge still yet to complete 90 minutes in the a full 90 in the Premier League, replaced by Lundstrom. With 65 minutes played here at St James's Park, and Newcastle United leading by 1-0. And now we have the another drinks break, which is always the case midway through the second half, and an opportunity here for Chris Wilder to regroup and just have a word with the 10 men of Sheffield United to try and salvage something from this match. Chris Waddle.
Yeah, I think they're going to take more risks as the game goes on, and rightly so. Fullbacks are going to bomb on a lot more down that right and left hand side, and the two centre-halves are going to be left unexposed. If Newcastle use the ball well, you can see them getting a second goal, but it's a risky game when you get behind the ball in and drop deeper and deeper, because you're inviting the ball into the box, and it only takes one decent delivery, and we saw Billy Sharp possibly should have scored. So for Steve Bruce it'll be, can we press as soon as they get to the halfway line? Let's press them and get the ball back as high as we can, because don't let them come onto it too much. But Chris Wilder will go for it here.
That's the voice of Chris Waddle. The break in play. I mentioned that Aston Villa, Chelsea and Everton, Liverpool to come today. Tomorrow night, Manchester City against Burnley. Remember, if Liverpool, if they were to beat Everton at Goodison at 7 o'clock tonight, they could win the title tomorrow if Manchester City were to lose at home to Burnley. So we'll have commentary of that tomorrow night from 8 o'clock. We'll have news of Leicester, Brighton and Tottenham, West Ham on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we're back here at St James's Park with commentaries of Newcastle against Aston Villa. Norwich Everton at 6 will be on Sports Extra, followed by Liverpool against Crystal Palace. And again, more live football on Thursday. Burnley Watford on 5 Live. Southampton Arsenal is on Sports Extra, with Chelsea against Manchester Manchester City at 8:15. So if the title is going to be wrapped up this week, then you'll hear it on BBC Radio 5 Live. The first of 3 games. We are 3/4 of the way through. Midway through the second half, play resumes after that second scheduled drinks break here. And Newcastle United against the 10 men of Sheffield United are leading by 1-0. Sheffield United, who've been unbeaten since the 21st of January, a run of 7 games, might well be coming to an end unless they can get themselves an equaliser after that 5 minutes that really has proved to be a turning point in this game. First with that sending off of Egan, and then the goal from Alain Saint-Maximin with his first at St James's Park. Newcastle looking to extend their own unbeaten run at home to 6 games, which will be useful, and they consider that they've got Aston Villa on Wednesday, followed by an FA Cup quarter-final against Manchester City in a week's time. Manquillo to take it to Joe Linton. Little flick back to Saint-Maximin, nudge in the back, bundled over by McBurney. Newcastle try and win that ball back. They do with Hayden to Ritchie, and they could have a man over here on that left-hand side. Rose is on the overlap. Ritchie will go. He won't need him because Matt Ritchie has fired the ball past Dean Henderson, and Newcastle United increase their lead and surely on their way now to secure the 3 points that realistically means that Newcastle will be safe. Newcastle 2, Sheffield United 0.
Well, he used the spear man very, very well there, Newcastle. He transferred the ball from right to left. Ritchie had an overlap as well with Danny Rose coming on the outside. But I've got to say, Ian, the shot is a terrific hit by Andy Ritchie. A lovely hit. Matt Ritchie, he's caught it really, really well. But I've got to look at the goalkeeper. It's gone into the near post where you would think he would have that covered. I can't really see the replay on this smallest TV screen I've ever saw in my life. Anyway, I just wonder if Dean Henderson could have done a lot more about that.
Well, he hit it left-footed. I've just seen a little glimpse as well. It was swerving away from him, but he never even moved, did Henderson? He just dropped to his knees.
And it went in the side where you think he's covering most of the goal, would have been that side. So obviously I'll have to see it on a proper screen. Yellow card.
Lascelles and Sharp in the tussle for a ball. Lascelles brings Sharp down, and this will be a yellow card for the Newcastle United captain. Indeed it is there from the referee, David Coote. Not been a happy hunting ground for them, for Sheffield United since 1979. They've lost 5 of their 6 visits. It's going to be 6 of 7 as they now trail by 2-0. If it was difficult with 10 men to try and come back from 1-0 down, its task is doubly harder now as they trail 2-0 here against the Newcastle United side, with goals in this second half from Ritchie and Saint-Maximin. And for Ritchie, it's his first goal since last March. But it secures, or you would think, Chris Waddle, to secure the 3 points.
Yeah. It's funny that when you say that Sheffield United hardly ever beat Newcastle United, and I've bogey teams when you play football. And I was looking at the stats and that, and thought that they very rarely get a result against Newcastle. And it's just certain teams, you don't know. It doesn't matter how well you play, and it just seems to be you never seem to beat them teams.
Well, it's going to be a 5th straight win for Newcastle over Sheffield United in the league, and it will take them to 38 points. And with that big win for Brighton yesterday, they've got a 4-point buffer over Watford. All of a sudden you're thinking it's 3 from 5 down at the bottom of the table. I mean, Brighton will still got work to do on 32 points, but the onus is on your Watfords, your West Hams, your Bournemouth, Aston Villa and Norwich. And of course Aston Villa have got an opportunity to climb out of the relegation zone. Dean Smith has named an unchanged side, and we will have commentary at 4:15 from Villa Park. Conor McNamara and Clinton Morrison for that home game against Chelsea. The Chelsea side, remember, who occupy 4th position and are looking for Champions League football for next season, as Lundstrom, the substitute for Sheffield United, turns on the halfway line in the sunshine, but 2-0 down. Forward ball for Billy Sharp. Billy Sharp gets himself with a cut back, and it might fall here to Ender Stevens, who strikes it and blazes the ball left-footed, and it whistles wide and out for a goal kick.
Billy Sharp did well, didn't he, to get round the back. Ball's bobbling everywhere, he pulls it back. And Stevens has just got to compose himself. He gets here a little bit too quick. He's hurried himself, and he's got right under it, and away it goes into the leader's end. But good response by Sheffield United. They're going to keep at it, and here comes on. They're bringing 2 subs on. Freeman.
And Luke Freeman is going to be coming on, and we're going to also be seeing Zivkovic, who's going to be coming on, and this is going to be his debut. He joined from Changchun Yatai in China in January on loan. He's a Dutch forward. He's 23 years of age. He's 6'1". He was once at Ajax, but he never started. He only made 9 appearances and the 1 goal during his time with Ajax. But he's going to be making his Sheffield United debut.
Fleck's come off for Freeman.
And Luke Freeman comes on, just as he did the other day, as a substitute. So he replaced Fleck.
And Billy Sharp.
And it's Billy Sharp, who's the other player to make way. So Fleck will benefit from the run out, bearing in mind he missed that game through injury in midweek. So Luke Freeman comes on for Fleck, and Billy Sharp, and Zivkovic is the one who comes on for his Sheffield United debut. And it'll be a run out of 16 minutes for him, as those changes are being made with 16 minutes remaining, and it means that there's just one more opportunity for Chris Wilder to utilise his substitutes as a result. But he's used 3 of his permitted 5. Newcastle lead by 2-0. Sam Maximan with a cutback, cleared away by Lundstrom.
He's been the best player on the park today. I know he can get frustrated, and Steve Bruce, no wonder he's grey. I can imagine him getting really frustrated with him, but he just does things which a lot of players can't do, and he does obviously excite the commentators because there's no crowd here.
Nothing wrong with being grey, by the way. McBurney hooks it away.
Yeah, but he's got a stressful job.
I was going to say I was just going to get myself into trouble with the wife. I'll keep quiet. Here is Norwood. Stevens. McBurney turns away from Shelby. Works it out to the right-hand side. It's a cross that is headed away by Manquillo. Steve Bruce was saying that those players whose contracts are due to end at the end of June, they've all verbally agreed to stay on. So Manquillo, Danny Rose, of course, on loan, Bentaleb as well as Valentino Lazaro, who's on the bench, and Andy Carroll talk of a new deal for him. He's going to be coming on very, very soon now for Newcastle United, looking just to make sure that they see out the next quarter of an hour, leading by 2-0 against Sheffield United, who are down to 10 men. Here is Lundstrom. Robinson in the centre circle. Norwood, Stevens' first time ball, and it'll be picked up by Dubravka. And it's gathered in by the goalkeeper Dubravka, and it's an underarm throw out towards that far side. At the start of lockdown, I was told to look at the league tables, because over the past few seasons, I was told you look at the amount of times, or very few, the amount of times that significant positions have changed in the league. So I duly did that. I filled my time, because as you say, I haven't got a stressful job, Chris. And in the last 8 seasons, with 9 games to play, there have only been 8 changes in the positions of either the title, 2, the top 4, 2, or the bottom 3, 4. Very, very rarely do those positions change. Aston Villa have got something to try and change and do something about that statistic as they take on Chelsea. Commentary's coming up at 4:15. But it's amazing, with that amount of football still to be played. You're talking 27 points, and how very little those significant positions change in the Premier League. Here is Ritchie. He's going to let one fly again from long range, and it's gathered in by the goalkeeper Henderson, as Newcastle still lead by 2-0.
2 substitutions.
Bentaleb is the other one who's going to be coming on for Newcastle United. Yet to score still in his English career, on loan from Schalke. Nabil Bentaleb, the Algerian international. Double change then being made by Steve Bruce as Joe Linton brings that ball under control. Feeds it out towards Almiron, left-hand side of the penalty area. Back towards Joe Linton. And Joe Linton with a landmark goal. And he beats his hand in celebration down onto the ground, because that is Joe Linton's first Premier League goal at St James's Park. It's Newcastle's third, and that secures the 3 points for sure. Newcastle 3, Sheffield United 0.
Yeah, Sheffield United obviously put massive effort in today. They're starting to run out of steam slightly, a little bit disjointed as you would be with 10 men, and it was a simple tap in for Joe Linton, and you can say he's got in the right place, and he hasn't shied away from it today. He does get a lot of criticism. We do say he should score a lot more, and his finishing's not the best, but he doesn't shy away, the lad, and he's got in the right position today, and he's scored, and he's going to be coming off.
So Joe Linton is going to be replaced. Andy Carroll and Bentaleb are the two who are going to be coming on. In fact, it's also the first time, would you believe, this season that Sheffield United have conceded more than 2 goals on their travels. They have always been a tough nut to crack away from home. They've only lost to Manchester City and Liverpool. But the sending off, undoubtedly the turning point. Chris Waddle 5 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, it's massive at this level as well, and it was a finely balanced game. I don't think there was a lot in it between them. Both teams were struggling, really, let's be honest, to create chances, and as soon as that sending off, psychologically, I think Newcastle stepped up again, scored, and it's one of them teams Newcastle always seem to be, and Steve Bruce would be absolutely delighted.
And also Joe Linton as well, to actually grab your first goal at the Premier League. It's been a long time in coming. He felt that he should have scored in the first half, to actually just break that drought, as Andy Carroll does well. Plays it out towards Shelvey. Maximan is the other player who's gone off. Sam Maximan. Shelvey now on the right, cuts the ball back across the face of goal, and Basham is the one to clear the ball away. And 10 minutes remain, and Newcastle lead by 3-0.
Well, it gets them off. They want Sheffield United now. You can see a lot of the heads have dropped. It's hard, as I say. It's a warm day, 10 men. If Newcastle want to keep going till the end, there's some more goals there for them.
So second half goals from Sam Maximin, Ritchie and Joe Linton. And Newcastle United are leading by 3-0 with 10 minutes remaining here at St James's Park against the 10 men of Sheffield United. They'll have to dust themselves down because they've got games coming up. Manchester United away on Wednesday. They themselves have got a FA Cup quarter-final next weekend at home to Arsenal. And then their next league match is Tottenham. So 2 significant games to be going into as far as the push for Europe is concerned. And here is Shelvey twisting and turning in the penalty area, and then he's lost the ball just when he maybe thought of trying to get a right-footed shot away, and Luke Freeman will clear.
He should have rolled Almiron in there. He drew all the players around him. He just had to just roll it to the side.
It's the curse of the commentator, isn't it, that we were talking before about in England, in English football, since the resumption, how very few home wins there have been. And then today you've had Cardiff in the Championship beating Leeds United 2-0. And here now Newcastle are leading 3-0. Aston Villa will hope that continues for their vital game. We said it was a must-win against Sheffield United midweek. They certainly need to take something from that game against Chelsea at 4:15. Commentary on the way. Everton against Liverpool to follow at 7. But here, Newcastle United, who take on Villa themselves at St James's on Wednesday, will have commentary of that here from St James's Park with 8 minutes remaining. And Steve Bruce will be up against another one of his former sides, as he again is going to be making another change. He's just beckoned Cher and Yedlin in the direction of the Newcastle dugout as the cross is fired over from McBurney, repelled by the head of the Newcastle defence, and it's played back in, just a dink back in by Norwood, and it will not roll out of play. Yes, it will for a goal kick.
I think Sheffield United will get ready now for a big game at Old Trafford, and it's a big game. As you say, they've got the cup to come up against Arsenal, who they really fancy the chances at the minute.
Yes, they will.
Arsenal are all over the place at the minute, so it's a very good opportunity for him to go to the semi-finals. So, but he'll be disappointed today. But as you say, at this level of football, when you go down to 10 men, it's very difficult to, in Chris Wilder's the way he thinks about the game, he'll be thinking, can I win the game? Can I win the game? And as soon as he goes 1-0 down, he's not thinking about damage limitation. He thinks we need the points. We're pushing for Europe, and but give Newcastle credit. They've worked hard today. The tempo's been good about them, and the advantage came obviously with the sending off.
The pity about the FA Cup, and in fact, just for the Premier League, is just the fact that it will. You know what the FA Cup means to the people of Newcastle, and to try and imagine if they were to get to Wembley and to have an FA Cup final for Newcastle. They've waited all these years, certainly under the Mike Ashley reign, to get past the fourth round, and now they find themselves in the quarter-finals, and to have no supporters as well. Both grounds, Bramall Lane and St James's Park, would be absolutely up for a quarter-final at home to Manchester City and Arsenal respectively, and for that not to be the case will just underline even more the fact that it's so disappointing that supporters are still not being allowed, understandably, back inside the stadium, and the sooner that they are back the better for all concerned. As Manquillo with a cross headed away by Robinson, it'll drop to Bentaleb, and he doesn't have the shot. Instead he plays it short to Shelvey, to Carroll, holds it up with his back to goal outside the penalty area, and then Carroll turns and Manquillo will not control that ball, and it will go out of play. And now the changes can be made for this Sheffield United side, and we're going to see Kieran Freeman making his first appearance in the Premier League. He's made a handful of appearances in the cup competitions this season, so he replaces McBurney for Sheffield United. And Newcastle are going to bring on Yedlin and also Cher. And is it Almiron who's coming off?
Shelvey and Almiron. So
they're the two changes to be made. Well, we said we weren't expecting a goal fest. Wasn't expecting 3 goals in this contest.
It just shows you how the sending off can make a massive change in the game at this level, and Newcastle have handled it very well. Sheffield United didn't really change. They went to a back four, obviously changed formation, but still kept trying to go forward and get a goal. So. But they got picked off on the break, and Newcastle's very good at the break on the counter-attack. So Andy Carroll a bit late there on Basham.
In fact, it's Cher and Lazaro are the two players to be coming on. I thought it was 22 Lazaro, but it's actually 23. So Lazaro has come on, and Cher is the other one. It was Almiron who's gone off. As here is Freeman. Newcastle United leading by 3-0. Out towards that far side. Shelvey was the other player. As Basham links up into the penalty area, gets the goal, shot away and across the face of goal, and it was Zivkovic who threw himself at it inside the 6-yard area, out for a goal kick.
That was a good play by Basham again, centre half who joins in, even though he's playing in a back four now, no back three. Goes forward, plays a little give and go, and it's a great ball across the area. And they're goals. They should be goals at this level.
So Lazaro for Almiron, and Cher just going into the midfield instead of John Joe Shelvey. I'm sure that Steve Bruce, with an eye on the games coming up, because the fixture list is unforgiving over these next few days, with Aston Villa at home and Manchester City next weekend for that last day to the FA Cup that we've been talking about. Just over 3 minutes remain of normal time on 5 Live, and Newcastle leads Sheffield United by 3-0. But the sending off of John Egan 5 minutes into the second half was the turning point in this contest, because up until then it had been a very, very tight contest between the two teams.
Has Newcastle done the double over anybody this season?
Well, I know what it is. It's back-to-back home wins for the first time since December for Newcastle United. You know, you were saying before that I don't have a stressful job. When you actually ask questions out of the blue, that all of a sudden it adds to the stress.
Obviously that's very, very stressful, isn't it, looking at has Newcastle had a double this season?
I can't multitask.
No, that's stressful, isn't it?
I'm trying to look down through my red book. Yes, Southampton. Southampton 2-1 at home and 1-0 away. There you go. Did I get that one before Gary behind me?
Yeah, you did actually.
Yeah.
Man, it helps, Gary, if you pull that face mask off your eyes.
2 minutes of normal time remaining. I was close to phoning a friend there. Yes, I do have one before you say anything. Newcastle with Rose on that halfway line. Newcastle leading 3-0. And now to Bentaleb. Pace of the game has completely dropped, and understandably so now.
Yeah, by the way, it's a very warm day today as well. So
Carroll for Newcastle United holds the ball up left-hand side of the penalty area. Ritchie, who got the second, his first of the season. Bentaleb able to turn. It was very positive. Was Steve Bruce in his press conference on Friday, saying that he's looking forward, and they are now looking forward. They've got that momentum to try and finish mid-table, far away as possible of those teams who are beneath them in the Premier League. As Zivkovic wins the ball back for Sheffield United, and this will take them on to 38 points. As Robinson rolls it out towards Ender Stevens, back towards Norwood. Just over 60 seconds remain of normal time. Basham. Norwood in the centre circle. Cher is ahead of him. Cher then gets the block challenge in, closes him down to Henderson, who first time this season he's conceded 3. Robinson to Norwood. Newcastle, with the exception of Cher, have all dropped off. We'll extend and they want that clean sheet, the 5th successive clean sheet at St James's Park. Over 7.5 hours of football without since they last conceded. Jordan Williams of Rochdale was the last goal scorer from an opposing side against Newcastle United, as Lazaro to Carroll holds it up on the halfway line. There will be a number of minutes to be added on because of the raft of substitutions that have been made, though, I would imagine, for when the 4th official puts his board up. As now we can see Yedlin getting ready to come on for Newcastle United. We heard from him before, ahead of the game, speaking with Nick Bright, and 3 minutes are to be added, so a minimum of 3. And Newcastle United leading by 3-0 against the 10 men of Sheffield United.
I don't think Yedlin will get on. He's been stood there 3 minutes already.
Here is Ritchie on that far side. Bentaleb drives it downfield, straight to Basham. He's a Hebburn lad, by the way, Chris Basham.
There you go.
Here is Robinson to Norwood, in between the 2 central defenders. Robinson. Back it goes to Basham, striding forward, tall, lean central defender. Little flick back to Norwood. Stevens to Norwood, now to Luke Freeman on this near side. Both the Freemans are out on the pitch for Sheffield United in their red and white striped shirts. Lundstrom still going. Touch the ball out towards the right by tumbling Kieran Freeman. Luke Freeman then to Basham. Seeing a lot of the ball, Sheffield United, but playing in front of Newcastle United as Luke Freeman turns, gets the shot away, it's blocked. And just striding forward will be Fernandez, and was he caught? The referee says yes, and that'll be a free kick to the home side. Chris Waddle.
Yeah, give Sheffield United credit, they've stuck at it, haven't they? Yedlin will get on. There you go. He's been stood there that long. He had short hair when he first stood on that touchline.
Yedlin is coming on. What did the board say? Who's coming off? Nobody's making a move towards this near side.
Well, they've walked off the far side.
Oh, it's Ritchie. It's Ritchie who's gone off on the far side. So Yedlin for Ritchie is the final change being made for Newcastle United. Two more commentaries to come on 5 Live. Aston Villa, Chelsea at 4:15. Aston Villa are unchanged. They know that a win would take them out of the relegation zone at the expense of West Ham United. Everton, Liverpool, the Merseyside derby. Will Liverpool take a step nearer towards the title, the champions-elect? And Cardiff City 2, Leeds United 0 was the significant result in the Championship from earlier today. Tomorrow, Manchester City, Burnley, commentary from 8. And more commentaries to come on Wednesday and Thursday on BBC Radio 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra. But with 20 seconds remaining or so here at St James's Park, Newcastle United with 3-0 scoreline to secure a valuable 3 points against the 10 men of Sheffield United, whose hopes of European football have taken a buffeting since Project Restart. All the goals coming in the second half, but only after John Egan had been sent off for a second bookable offence 5 minutes into the second half. 5 minutes later, Richie's cross from the left-hand side wasn't dealt with by Stevens, and San Maximan punished him, slotting the ball in. And then Newcastle United got a second with just over 20 minutes remaining. Richie with a left-footed drive, and then Joel Linton with his first Premier League goal at St James's Park secured the win with that third goal. Sheffield United did have chances. Sharp's downward header went wide, but it's Newcastle who are comfortable winners, Chris Waddle.
Yeah, you've got to say Newcastle, so maybe he's just deserved it, let's be honest. But until the 10 men, it was a very even game. Sheffield United, we know what they're all about. Hard to beat, hard to break down. The sending off was crucial, and Newcastle exploited that and went on and won quite comfortable. I think it was quite an even game, though, to be honest, and up till the sending off. I think then Newcastle obviously took control, which you'd expect with 10 men. But Sheffield United stuck at it. You can't ask any more. Chris Ware, I can't fault his attitude of his players. But it's a great result by Newcastle United, and that for me puts them safe for another year in the Premier League.
Yes, it takes Newcastle to 38 points, and whilst mathematically they might not be safe, realistically you would think they would be now. Newcastle 3, Sheffield United 0.
I'm going to balance out the Joe Linton text now after that goal, Chris, from half time. So
hold on, you would have scored that.
This is what people have been saying. 85058 at 5 Live Sport. Oliver, get in Joe Linton. Knew he'd score, never doubted him. Always thought he was amazing. Marley buzzing for Joe Linton. He's played well today. A performance more typical of a proper centre forward. Yes, he messed up the finish in the first half, but he did everything right otherwise. And Duncan, you can really see how much Joe Linton wanted that goal. Worked his backside off to get into that position, and he did do that, as you said in commentary. He never shied away.
No, he doesn't. He works. Listen, he's an honest player. Whatever people say, and we all criticise about his technique at times and his finishing and his qualities, he's an honest kid, and he never, as I say, he never turns away. He doesn't shirk responsibility. He was there. Yes, I think a lot of people will be pleased for him to score. Can he add to that between now and the end of the season? Wait and time will tell. But the problem is he came with such a massive price tag for somebody who really a lot of people didn't really know about, and he's found it difficult. And let's be honest, the way Newcastle played, it's very much counter-attack. It's not like the pen team's in and you're getting chance after chance. So when he does get a chance, he's got to take it. And unfortunately this season, when he does get a chance, he hasn't took most of them.
That was his first Premier League goal since he got the winner at Tottenham Hotspur 27 Premier League appearances ago. Do you think he's actually a player who perhaps at the moment probably benefited from the lack of fans, given how they would have reacted to the missed chance in the first half?
Yeah, definitely. It's about confidence. Football, any position you play is about confidence, but strike has a lot more. So I think he's enjoyed that, where most people have said unlucky. The dugout have said, even though you think different things, you'll have shouted unlucky, and next time you'll put it in and give him that boost he needs. The players would have obviously said the same, where normally you would have got 50-odd thousand tears shouting, what are you doing? So I think it's going to help him from now at the end of the season, playing games without the crowd.
The flip side of that, which just occurred to me, is I didn't realise until Ian said it in commentary that was Alan San Maximan's first goal at St James's Park. The roof would have come off if there were fans in there for that. Yeah,
well, he's a fan's favourite. Newcastle love players like that who can do something different. Yes, they can frustrate the managers and frustrate the teammates, but he's got something.
Sorry, Chris, I've just got to interrupt you because Gary Flintoff's got some post-match reaction for us.
Yes, from one great winger to another one. Chris Waddle was just talking about your performance today. Alan, well played. What a great way to return to football.
Yeah, really great return. I think everybody are happy today because we worked hard before for start good and win the first game, and it's what we do today with a great win, 3-0.
Did you feel today it was one of those games where the first goal was crucial? The team that scored that first goal would go on to win the game?
Yeah, we see a really difficult game against a really good team. Sheffield, I think they're in seventh position. That's why we try to do everything for run a lot, for run more than Sheffield. And today we are really happy to win this game. And I know it's an important goal to score the first one, and after we score 2, 3, and I'm really happy because it's a great win today.
Your manager often says that you are a real crowd pleaser, but I think today you've shown that even without a crowd, you want to entertain.
Yeah, because I know the crowd can watch a TV, and it's a power. You know, everybody knows they are not here, but they can watch TV. That's why I'm really happy to score this goal and to keep going to score and help my team for a win more game.
And of course, Joe Linton on the score sheet today, and I'm sure you know better than most the amount of work that he puts in for the side. How pleased were you for him to score today?
I'm really happy for him. It's what I said before. Sometimes when you are a striker, you have a difficult time, and it's what's happened with Joe. But he keep working, he work hard in training, and when we work hard, sometimes it's a long time. But I hope this goal after. Maybe 1 more, 2 more, 3 more coming. I hope for him.
And 38 points now? Is that safety, or the manager not let you think that way as of yet?
We just take like game per game. We are really happy to have 38 points now, and we want to do everything for do a great game again against Aston Villa. And if we win this game, we know we can look forward.
Well played today. Well done on the goal.
Thank you.
His ears must have been burning, Chris.
Yeah, So he's an entertainer, and he's a player who the fans like to watch. He does bits of things which most players can't do. But as I said, he's frustrating. He's still young. People forget he's not. He's late 20s. He's a young player who is still learning, and you'd expect things to come in the next few years. He's going to go on to better things if he listens and works hard.
Is there, Ian, is there a bit of an update on the Newcastle takeover?
Well, only in the sense that not in terms of the actual takeover as such. So it's 11 weeks since those papers were lodged with the Premier League, and we're still awaiting from news from that as they're doing their due diligence. But there is a significant statement that has been issued from the Saudi Authority Intellectual Property in the sense that they have served their intention that they aim to block 231 websites that violate regulations and rights, because as you'll know, there was the World Trade Organization that issued a report on Tuesday saying that the Saudis have been guilty of piracy in midweek, and as a result of that, the Saudi Authority